in translation. And I'll be with you till midnight tonight. Friday night, big gang night. I've been sitting here for the past 2 hours listening to the scanner. Your kids are out there breaking into houses and robbing people and stabbing one another tonight, trying to commit suicide at some lake. The cop said there were 10 cars filled with youth drinking and fighting. Do you know where your kids are tonight? God, no wonder Ken Hamlin gets angry in the morning. This keeps up, you're going to find me doing the very same thing. Guess which neighborhoods they're in? Unbelievable. Jeez Louise. Night after night. Same after same. In a way, I wish I didn't even discover this scanner. All right. Coming up this evening, first part, we have one person who will be joining us. Patricia Ireland is the National Director of NOW. She's the president of NOW, National Organization for Women. One of Bob Enyart's favorites and Rush Limbaugh's favorites. Be here with us. And then Dignity Denver. These are the gay, lesbian people who say the Catholic Church is giving them a rough deal. And the National Organization for Women is say that the Catholic Church should get this. Grow up. That's our message to the church in the 20th century. And then they've got a lot of priest bashing, pope bashing stuff here. But you know who Patricia Ireland is, don't you? Rush Limbaugh talks about her all the time. This will be we're going to find out all about NOW and Patricia Ireland, why she's here in Denver. Incidentally, the president's at a big party at Stapleton Airport tonight, evidently raising $800,000 for Governor Romer. And your kids are out breaking into everybody's houses. I thought that would change with the Pope here. No, I'm serious. Yeah, your kids. They're out there. This is unbelievable. Breaking into things. There we go. Here's to the gang kids. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Patricia Ireland from the National Organization of Women. I'm Jan Scott. And this is KNUS in English. Bada bada bing.
In Italy, O Sole Mio means, O Son of Mine, a tribute to the brilliant sun which drenches the city of Naples. In Denver, O Sole Mio means a roasted rack of lamb with a crust of herb goat cheese. O Sole Mio means spinach dumplings with grilled fennel sausage. O Sole Mio means fettuccine tossed in a spinach pesto Alfredo sauce with sun-dried tomatoes. O Sole Mio means romance. O Sole Mio means the finest and upscale Italian dining at a price you can afford. Hi, I'm Warren Byrne, and if you enjoy the complexities of modern Italian food, if you like to relax in old-world ambiance and be pampered in the European style, if you believe Italian food should be more than pizza and spaghetti, make reservations tonight at O Sole Mio at 5501 East Colfax. O Sole Mio is one of Denver's best-kept secrets. Its relaxed, friendly atmosphere is a great place to celebrate birthdays or anniversaries. In addition to fine food, you'll find an excellent selection of Italian beers, as well as moderately priced Italian wines. Call O Sole Mio for reservations at 329-6139. See you there.
Looking for that dream home or enjoy looking? Join Paul McGregor this Saturday, August 14th, for a special edition of Homefront from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Parade of Homes at Westwoods Ranch in Arvada. On AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
Tom Jensen with Karen Kennedy and Jim Turner Sports. AM 710's The Edge does.
The Pope. I'll continue covering World Youth Day events as they unfold.
And listen up, you Catholics who don't want to have your marriages annulled before remarrying.
The Edge has the answer.
Along with Hit and Get, alternative talk radio.
And comment of the day, something you say so profound, unique, funny, that it will be repeated over and over and over.
3 to 6 afternoons, The Edge, AM 710, the all-new KNUS Denver.
And AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
You never know where to find Jan Scott at night. Sometimes he's in a coffee house or an upscale restaurant. Other times on the street, in a gang neighborhood, or on a Colfax Avenue bus. But wherever he is, Always find him 9 to midnight weeknights on AM 710 KNUS. You can talk to Jann right now by phoning him at 935-7100 or 1-800-533-0071.
21 minutes after the 10 o'clock here in the Mile High City. 69 degrees in Denver, Boulder 79, and Fort Collins it's 69 degrees. Continuing in our bringing guests to you of an alternative nature, and actually not always so alternative. Last night we had on Dan Rather. He had some interesting things to say about gangs and about television violence on CBS. This evening we bring to you here in Denver Patricia Ireland, who's the president of the National Organization for Women, better known as NOW. Patricia, welcome to KNUS and welcome to Denver tonight.
Oh, thank you, Jan. I'm just delighted to be here.
Hi, you are here from Washington?
Yes, I just came in this evening.
You did. Well, why are you here?
Well, in part because the anti-abortion groups had threatened to attack clinics and doctors' homes, which seems to have fizzled, and in part because we want to provide a way to speak out for folks, the majority of Catholics actually in the country, who disagree on some of the hierarchy's policies that will be being promoted by the Pope.
Now, what kind of phone are you on, incidentally?
We're getting a bad connection here, aren't we?
We are? Let's do this. We'll take another break here. We'll call you right back on another line. Can we do that?
Okay.
Okay, just hang up, and
Thanks.
and Lane will call you right back. Now, while Lane's doing that, actually, Lane, I'll tell you what. Just call her, and let me talk. All right? While Lane is doing that, he's going to call her back and get a better phone connection. There was an article in the paper the other day. It says, Papal values anger feminists. Women assail pontiff for condemning birth control while protecting child-molesting priests. Whoa, these are some pretty strong claims written in the Rocky Mountain News. Pope John Paul II, according to this article, squanders his moral authority by condemning women who use birth control while protecting priests who sexually abuse children. Oh, is this true? We'll find out if she agrees with this. Do we have her back? Okay. So this should be an interesting conversation. Lane is back there trying to dial up this number again. I hope we didn't lose her permanently, but we couldn't have. This is Patricia Ireland. This is the person Rush Limbaugh goes on about. He does not like her at all. He goes just totally crazy with her, along with Bob Enyart. He's another nut on television who doesn't. You remember Molly Yard? Patricia Ireland took over for Molly Yard. So anyway, the Washington Post said recently that 90% of U.S. Catholics polled disagreed with the church on birth control. The same poll said 67% of U.S. Catholics support ordaining women. Is this something that you agree with? Now what, we can't get her back? We're trying to make contact here with Patricia Ireland. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Patricia, I think we have a better connection now.
Okay, sounds better to me.
Much better. I had Planned Parenthood on here the other night, and we talked at great length about the number of acid attacks.
Yes.
I think there were 65 acid attacks nationwide on women's clinics, 5 firebombed, and at least 1 murder by the use of terrorist tactics of Operation Rescue and its associated groups.
Well, that's part of the reason that we're having this rally tomorrow at 2:30 at the City of Brest Park, is because I think we want to celebrate the fact that the City of Denver really mobilized to keep the anti-abortion folks from closing clinics or attacking the patients and the physicians. But also because we want to protest the Catholic hierarchy's involvement in, on the one hand, decrying violence, and on the other hand, providing some support, and in some cases, even the leadership for some of the violent anti-abortion groups. And the Lambs of God is headed by a fellow from Colorado Springs who's a Father Norman Westland. I'd like to see them take a serious role in disciplining, their own organization, both on child sexual abuse and on the anti-abortion violence.
This is interesting. This is a national organization of women. Molly Yard used to be the president, and then you took over from her, right?
Right.
And how many members do you have now?
We have about 250,000 members. We're the largest feminist organization in the country. Although, of course, I would like to see us grow ever larger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have, let me see here. So you have some concerns with the Pope. Some of them being that women are not allowed to be priests.
Well, in the same way that other institutional authorities, whether it's the U.S. Senate or the Catholic Conference of Bishops or the Vatican, women's voices really are not heard in the halls of power. In the same way that the hierarchy's been bitterly opposed to birth control and abortion. The Pope just recently identified U.S. Catholic feminists as pagans, and again, going against the majority of their own adherents to Catholic leadership, has excluded women from the priesthood.
Some of that may not be far from the truth, though, don't you think? I mean, the practice of paganism has really become almost synonymous with feminism. Everything from vision quests to American Indian rituals to practice of witchcraft and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad necessarily, but that would be almost accurate, wouldn't it?
Well, I think that the Catholic hierarchy actually fails to see the promise and only sees the threat from feminist spirituality. And many rank-and-file Catholics favor liturgies that include the biblical feminine language about God, and certainly Roman Catholicism has given us some very inspiring mystics and saints whose hymns and prayers contain a lot of the vivid female imagery for God. That shouldn't be frightening. You shouldn't, in my opinion, and again, that's a matter of doctrine and belief, but I think that, again, the majority of Catholics, 2/3 of the Catholics in this country, think women should be priests. They're having a hard time filling the ranks of the priesthood.
A couple questions. So, obviously on abortion, on the issue of abortion or pro-choice, now certainly stands behind the pro-choice movement.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're part of the rally tomorrow at 2:30 is because the Pope and the Catholic Conference of Bishops are trying to impose their anti-abortion and birth control dogma on all of us, whether we're Catholic or not, and even their own people don't agree with it. But also, they've been disciplining the Catholic nuns who speak out in favor of abortion rights, and I really think that they're out of step and out of touch with their own church.
What National Organization of Women has been certainly in the media connected with radical feminism or anti-male. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think that's actually a widespread belief, although I agree with you, it's been portrayed in the media that way. And I expect that for some people, when we talk about equality, they may view that for themselves as a step down. They may find it threatening to have to compete with women on an equal basis for positions in the military or in the church hierarchy. But I think that women and men who are feminists see allowing women's talents and participation fully in the institutions that shape our society as being a valuable contribution for our whole country. Our whole society will benefit if we don't exclude half the population's talents and skills. But it certainly is not anti-male, but it is anti-inequality. It's anti-injustice.
Mm-hmm. Rush Limbaugh, the radio talk show host.
Bless his heart.
You were one of his favorite people.
I'm glad he noticed.
I mean, in fact, I was listening to him today. He was talking about you. He has what's called the Feminist Update, I think.
Uh-huh.
Do you listen to him?
No.
Not at all?
No, I've seen him once or twice.
Mm-hmm. You mean like on television?
Yeah.
I know. So, what's your opinion of him? Do you find him amusing, or does he really piss you off, or do you like him?
I think a lot of folks watch him who don't agree with his opinions, but find him in some measure amusing. I find it very interesting in terms of his willingness to have his ideas challenged and again compete in the marketplace of ideas. That he never seems to have any guests on his shows. He has photographs of people who he can talk about, but who can't talk back.
Yeah, no, actually, he's on this station, but I'm what you would call the token sane person on the station. In fact, whenever we say the name Rush Limbaugh on this station, it kicks off an automated... there it is.
There he is.
We have Limbaugh fans marching around the building. Now, we're the radio station that got Dan's bake sale going, you know.
Oh, yes, I remember it well.
You didn't go.
No, I wasn't able to make it, but I remember it well.
You know, in fact, you know what I could do if you like? I could send you a Rush Limbaugh T-shirt.
You know, I could probably live without it.
You could? I mean, you could, like, wear it to bed or something.
But, you know, a T-shirt that has some slogan for women's equality, I'll trade you. I'll send him one of them.
Oh, yeah. You do that?
Sure,
All
sure.
right.
Let's see, maybe one that says men of quality are not afraid of women.
Something like that.
Women's
That sounds...
equality.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, when we finish here, I'll put you on hold, and then we can trade shirts. I'll send you a big Rush Limbaugh shirt, and I have a lesbian friend who actually sponsors my TV show up in Boulder, and she was desperate for a Rush Limbaugh shirt. And I said, "You got to be kidding!" She said, "No, this is going to raise hell with all my lesbian friends when I go into a gay bar with this shirt on." And it was kind of a joke, I guess. So I don't know. And what else was I going to ask you? Oh, I know. NOW is often connected with lesbianism and bisexuality as the, how can I say it? Maybe a lesbian agenda or a gay agenda in the women's movement. What about that?
Well, it is another reason that we're speaking out against the Pope and the Catholic hierarchy tomorrow at the rally at the city of Brest Park, is because we do see the use of homophobia, that is the hatred of lesbians and gays, and the lesbian baiting as something that keeps all women in our place. As long as any woman who speaks up on her own behalf, who's assertive about her rights, who seeks a non-traditional career and is confident and assertive and ambitious, runs the risk of being identified as a lesbian and what it's supposed to do, because that carries very real threats in this society. As folks here in Denver know all too well, in Boulder, that from the campaign on Amendment 2, there's a lot of discrimination, there's a lot of hate out there, and if somebody says to a friend or a colleague at work, "Hey, I'm going to a NOW meeting tonight," and they say, "Oh, I thought you were married. Isn't that just a bunch of lesbians?" It's supposed to make us divided and conquered. It's supposed to make us fearful of asserting our own rights. So it's not only a matter of principle, but a very pragmatic reason. We have to get rid of that as a threat, so that at some point when somebody says to a NOW member, "Oh, are you a lesbian?" you can just turn around and use that classic feminist line, "What are you, the alternative?"
What? Now, is Patricia Schroeder, Congresswoman Pat Schroeder, is she a member of NOW?
You know, I don't know if she's currently a member, but she has been, and certainly has been very strong on women's rights.
What about Hillary Clinton?
I don't know if Hillary's a member. I know that several of the cabinet members, the women are. The Secretary of the EPA, the Environmental, Carol Browner is, and a lot of them certainly support our issues. I think we have a lot more support in public opinion and with public officials than we have members. A lot of folks in the last 20 or 25 years of the modern women's movement have moved our direction on the issues. And that, of course, is a great source of gratification. Now we've got to get those issues, that public opinion, translated into public policy, and that's the political side of it.
What? Now, I want to ask, can I ask you, hang on here, Lane, let's save this till I finish with Ms. Ireland, and then we'll jam all the commercials up. I know, we'll do that in a minute. Let me just finish here. Now, you were, I want to ask, can I ask you a personal question here about your, something that was written down and handed to me, that you are married and you also have a girlfriend. Is that true, or is this inappropriate for me to ask you? Or?
Well, as someone who's in the public eye, I've tried to maintain some balance of having a private and a personal life. I do have a husband and I have a companion who is a woman, but I've never really gone any further than describing those outer aspects of my life. I figure somewhere my personal life has to start, and that's probably at my front door. I do like to keep a little privacy.
Okay. Let's do this. You want to take 2 calls?
Sure.
Okay. Let's start with Dwayne, and keep your hand in that dump button, Lane. Let's start with Dwayne in Castle Rock.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
How's it going?
Okay. Do you have a question or comment?
I just have a comment. kind of, I'm not a Catholic, but I understand that the Pope receives revelation, supposedly. I'm not sure of that or not, but, and if he receives revelation for his church, then it doesn't really matter what the majority of Catholics in America think. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think that as long as it's a question of faith and within their religious dogma, that's something that they're going to have to work out within their own church. I think for many of us, the concern comes when they try to impose that dogma through the force of law, that is, passing statutes or ordinances or seeking in some way to impose that view on all the rest of us.
Well, let's go out on an extreme here then and say that 90% of Catholics believe that murder is okay now.
What are you trying to get at here, Dwayne?
I don't think that the Catholic Church should accept that kind of lifestyle just because.
Which kind of lifestyle? Women being priests?
No, well,
feminists going to mass?
Lesbians, gays.
All right. Thanks for your call. We're going to go down and talk to Jewel in Denver. Jewel, you're on the air.
Hi. First of all, I'd just like to say that to use your guest's words, I'm a rank-and-file Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Pope, I love the Church, and I'm a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with the Church's stance on abortion and birth control. I find killing innocent children totally reprehensible, as well as finding the National Organization of Women reprehensible.
What do you find reprehensible about them?
Well, first of all, they don't represent a lot of women. I don't know who they represent, but they certainly don't represent my views, and in fact, I find that their organization just very offensive, just using the term women, I find offensive. I mean, I don't consider them feminine in any way or feminist, I mean, I'm a Catholic, I'm a woman, I'm proud of my womanness, but, I don't see any reason that killing children, it becomes,
well, okay,
value.
let's deal with a couple of issues here at once, okay?
Okay.
One is, and let me ask this of Patricia Ireland. It seems to me, well, and I'll ask this of you, Jewel. I mean, didn't NOW lead the way in the ERA, Equal Rights Amendment? And don't you believe for equal rights for women?
Well, we do represent those who are adherents of the women's rights movement, and that's on certain issues, including birth control and abortion. Most of the country's Catholics follow their own conscience and indeed respectfully but firmly disagree with church authorities and agree with the position that says it is ultimately in their own purview to decide. And in fact, the majority of Catholics again believe that abortion can be moral under some circumstances. I think if the hierarchy had spent more time
Answer the phone, Lane.
Dealing with the widespread phenomena of clergy sexual abuse of children and adult women in their own parishes, and focusing less on the obsession that they have with how women are living their lives, we'd all be a lot better off.
Go ahead, Jewel. You said you.
I just want to say, she keeps bringing up, or I say you keep bringing up, the fact that the majority of American Catholics, well, as the last caller said, he's not a Catholic, but he has a fairly good understanding. Who cares what the majority of the Catholics think? The Catholic Church is not a democracy. It's never been a democracy. It's a kingship.
Well, there are people that disagree with you. There are people that say the Catholic Church has been a democracy.
Well, they're wrong. I mean, read the history of the Church. Read the saints. I mean, that's just not true.
Well, you should have been listening last night, because I had 2 priests in here and a nun who said it absolutely was true, and that things were changed.
I think it's too bad that a lot of
the other thing too is if you have women who are putting it on the line so that you can have a place in this world, where you can work and have more rights than you used to have, and I'm talking about at the turn of this century, you didn't have the right to vote. And if it was not for women like the NOW, you still wouldn't have the right to vote, Jewel. Do you think that women should be chattel?
No, and I'm not chattel. But I don't think that.
But and 90 years ago, you were chattel.
I don't find it liberating.
And if you left it up to the Catholic Church, you'd still be chattel.
Did you know that Susan B. Anthony, one of the founders of the feminist
probably
movement.
Hang on
is
here. So, Jewel,
pro-lifer.
goodbye.
the Catholic Church, I think, recognized as including all the Catholics. It is not just the hierarchy. And I think the bishops are, in fact, way out of step when they recently announced, for instance, that they're going to oppose any attempt to provide universal health care, which would benefit millions of people, and especially low-income and poor people, if the coverage includes abortion and birth control. And I think that on those kinds of issues where they are interfering in U.S. public policy, I mean, then they cross the line between being a church and move into political action committees. Let them form a PAC and pay taxes if they want to have that kind of a political role. But again, I don't think that's the appropriate role for the church. I think they should argue their position as strenuously as they can with their own adherents and stay out of the public policy arena.
Can you stay with us for a few more minutes here?
Well, I really,
to
we can give you a few more minutes. I'm sorry we're running a little late, but I've got an early morning wake up.
I want to ask you one other question. The priests who molest children, the NOW has a position on that?
Well, I think, like the rest of the country, we've been quite horrified with the failure of the hierarchy to take effective action to stop clergy sexual abuse of children and adult women. Although many had hoped that in this latest round of scandal about that issue, that there would begin processes for defrocking such priests, all that's really happened is that they've appointed yet another commission. And I think that there's great concern about that. And again, the idea that I think that Catholic leadership needs to clean up their own rectory and stop obsessing about other people's morality. But it's such an abuse of power. And again, like other institutions, that abuse of power by institutional authorities, whether they're senators or priests or whomever, goodness knows, media types even, is really a problem. It means that a trust that's been placed in them is being abused.
Let's just take these last two calls. Phyllis, you're on the air with Patricia Ireland.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. I heard a comment from a woman that called in on the radio station today that really hit home to me. And we're talking about pro-choice here for women. Isn't the choice when you go to bed with a guy, isn't that your choice whether you want to take the chance of having a baby?
Sure, and you know, we're on the 25th anniversary now of the encyclical teaching that under the Catholic dogma, all acts of sexual intercourse must be open to the transmission of life. That's a very particular religious point of view that most Catholics and most people in this country who are not Catholics simply don't follow. They just, in fact, the most recent polling shows that the majority of Catholics don't think that's binding on them. They don't follow it. It's not part of our life. To be able to express our love and still control our fertility is part of a basis for many of us being able to have a family life that is successful. Even birth control, if you use it in contradiction to the papal pronouncements, is not foolproof. There's going to have to be a backup for unintended pregnancies for many valuable and important reasons, often relating to being able to take care of our families that are in being, the children who are already here and alive and have needs and emotional and financial requirements of their own.
You know, 90% of the American Catholic women believe in birth control, according to a recent Harris poll. Yet, the Catholic Church will not allow birth control even in third world countries where unwanted children are there's a proliferation of them. I mean, in Brazil, they're being murdered by the numbers. So, I mean, that in itself is almost a great, I mean, it is. In fact, it's a terrible sin. If they want to allow birth control in third world countries, just like the right-wing fundamentalist Christian church, yet they don't want to see abortions. I mean, like, you can't have it both ways.
Well, and in this day and age, with AIDS being such a serious problem, I think that we have to move forward with effective both contraception and disease.
Well, Phyllis, thanks for your call. And Patricia Ireland, I'm going to let you go. Tomorrow morning, this rally is going to be where?
Tomorrow at 2:30, the rally's at City of Brest Park. It's the South Colorado Boulevard and South Cherry Creek Drive in Denver. And I hope we'll see you there and some of your listeners.
Thank you. Now look, we're going to put you on hold here, and Lane's going to get your address.
Okay, thanks, Jan.
And we'll send you a Rush Limbaugh T-shirt. That's Patricia Ireland with NOW. And we'll take a break, and when we come back, we will actually take your calls about now and feminism and what you think about it. We can talk about this stuff up until the top of the hour. I'm Jann Scott. This is KNUS.
So you're thinking about redecorating. Well, that's good, you know, because all of those avocado appliances, they'll never die. You're going to have to kill them. And if you're looking for new ideas, well, here's one. Go to the Parade of Homes. You know, where they have all of those very lavish, go on forever, a million bedrooms, jacuzzi in the powder room kind of homes, and steal some ideas. Very cheap. You know, you would be so amazed at what you can learn in a place like this. I mean, until I went, I thought a bidet was a drinking fountain. That's so sad. Anyway, it's a big party with music, entertainment, lots of good food. And the way I see it, you pay your $6, you have a great time, and take away all the ideas your little head can carry. Let someone else pay the mortgage.
The Parade of Homes. All the fun, none of the payments. At Westwoods Ranch in Arvada. Open 10 to 8 daily, now through Labor Day. Get your tickets at the door, or save $1 at King Soopers.
Oh, and please, lose the swag lamp while you're at it. Thank you.
Denver Jeep Eagle's downtown location. Now, there's a different kind of a place to take your car. They can handle the biggest service problem your car or truck might have. A new engine, a rebuild, transmission problems, doesn't matter how big. But what makes them different is yet another philosophy. They also major in minor things. They major in minor things. Electrical problems, a darn good tune-up, or how about a thorough detailing? They have a few rules at Denver Jeep Eagle, but they're all in your favor. For instance, you'll be treated with absolute courtesy. Your service work will be performed with genuine expertise and professionalism, and priced fairly. You'll even be delivered to work in the downtown area, and they also offer, of course, a huge rental fleet at discount prices, and an amazing variety of top-flight used cars. Denver Jeep Eagle, downtown, at 1330 West Alameda, 871-0305. You're gonna love them.
Join KNUS every Wednesday afternoon at 4:55 when the Denver Spoke proudly presents a weekly cycling feature, Cycling in Colorado, with special host David Nelson. Denver Spoke, great gear, great prices, great service. Denver Spoke, 1715 East Evans, 6 blocks east of DU.
Tom Jensen with Karen Kennedy and Jim Turner Sports. AM 710's The Edge does.
The Pope. I'll continue covering World Youth Day events as they unfold.
And listen up, you Catholics who don't want to have your marriages annulled before remarrying.
The Edge has the answer.
Along with Hit and Get, alternative talk radio.
And comment of the day, something you say so profound, unique, funny, that it will be repeated over and over and over.
3 to 6 afternoons, The Edge, AM 710, the all-new KNUS Denver.
And AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
You can write to Jann Scott, care of KNUS Radio 5800 West Alameda, Lakewood 80226. Talk to Jann right now at 935-7100 or long distance. Call 1-800-801-0071 or fax Jann in the studio right now, 935-5635.
Says Lakewood Police Department. Got some.
Unit with traffic. 311, Colfax and Quail, Robert, correction, William Brett, Robert Edward, 953, WRE 953. 2049. King 33, clear. 2250 by 332.
Let's go talk with Mary in Colorado Springs. Hi, Mary. You're on the air with Jann Scott.
Hi, I just wanted to ask you a little bit of trivia here.
Sure.
Do you know who the first woman elected to Congress was?
The first woman elected to Congress was... didn't they make a coin? They put her on a coin. It was... It was, what the heck was it? I know who it was. They did put her on a coin, right?
I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
it was in 1916, and it was a Republican.
What
Her
was
name
her-
was Janet Rankin of
Okay.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
So Republican women have been just as much a part in voting and whatnot.
Of course.
Well, I mean,
that makes
I
sense
think
to
now's, my only impression about now is just they're a little bit off. I mean, they don't represent a lot of women, and so they shouldn't claim to be for all women.
Well, they represent, I'll tell you this, they represent 250,000 women. They represent women who, now that's what Rush Limbaugh basically lies about now, because he says that they say that they stand for all women. What they really stand for are women's equal rights in the job, in the home, and in the church. And now truly is an extension of the women's movement, which started at the turn of the century in this country, and the way it got formed was one over the women's suffrage, literally their suffrage,
But that was
and,
more of a
and the right to
mainstream
vote,
movement.
and the right to vote, and then also prohibition, women's Christian temperance movement. That was about
Yeah, that was the Republicans.
and that's terrific.
The conservatives.
Well, yeah,
and what I'm saying is, it's just, I don't have a problem with now if they, don't claim to be inclusive of all women. That's my only thing.
Well, I see, but she didn't say that tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
No,
I heard
do you know who says that? I'll tell you who says that. Rush Limbaugh says that. Now, let me tell you something about the Republican Party. Do you know who else was a Republican? Was Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt was this country's #1 environmentalist. He created the National Park System. He created the National Forest Service. He was a naturalist. So the Republican Party has made a gigantic swing to the right. And you've got to have a guy like Rush Limbaugh who's out there, in my view, hanging out with the Ku Klux Klan and the Nazis.
I listen to the guy after you. I don't even listen to Rush, really. But I just...
You listen to who, Marty?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, if she wants, to go ahead with her movement, I don't, blame her for that. It's just, okay, as you explained it, it's a little better, but it's just, I get the impression that they feel that they have support from most women, and I think they just have it from some.
Well, let's put it this way. There is today a demonstration, and tomorrow, at the Planned Parenthood Center in Denver. Planned Parenthood has 26 centers in this state. 23 of them have nothing to do with abortion. They have to do with birth control, prenatal care, those kinds of things, all right? Yet, the right to life...
I'm not either. I'm not
okay,
right to life.
but those people, they use terrorist tactics against... are you in favor...
both groups do. That's why I don't agree with you.
Well, but they don't. You don't see NOW out bombing things.
I think they're both a little melodramatic. That's just
I
my
don't know.
opinion.
No, I think the let's put it this way. Right to Life is run by men who abuse women. And to prove it, they've blown up and burned 6 women's clinics this year, had 65 acid attacks. Don't you think that's a little dangerous?
Yeah, I do. But I just think that social movements, period, have become just too dangerous. They're not like Martin Luther King type things.
I think that's the fight. That's the fight that you're in. All right, what do you do for a living?
Socratic dialogue, not...
What do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living?
Yeah.
I'm a student at UCCS.
At where?
UCCS.
Okay, University of Colorado, Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what are you studying?
Economics.
You're studying economics, okay. And do you want to, what's your goal in terms of a job?
I'm not exactly sure yet, but I'm thinking about either something in financing or maybe political.
Okay. Do you know that if it wasn't for now, you couldn't get a job as if you wanted to be... Let me finish,
that was
Mary.
my only point.
Mary, let me finish on this. Stay with me. Don't go away. If it wasn't for now, in the 1970s, you could not get a job in economics or as a young urban professional. That has come as a result of those women out there putting it on the line for young women like you.
But I don't. Okay, it's great that they did that back then, and I think they might have been more mainstream back then. I don't know. But my point is,
they were considered much more radical back then.
Well,
it was very radical.
I kind of have a problem with it because they weren't. There was a mainstream movement somewhere in the midst of this, and that's how whatever rights became. I mean, I agree with equal opportunities, but I do not agree with equal outcomes.
Which parts do you have a problem with?
Just the equal outcome type thing and how defensive they get, and I think they're just.
Do you believe in equal pay?
Mainstream, and it's if they want to do that, that's it's
okay.
a
Wait a
country,
minute. But do you believe in equal pay for women? If you go in and get a job, as an economist or in finance.
Equal opportunity, yes, but not.
Well, you're not going to get it.
I'm not doing a job that's as hard.
You have to fight. Your chances of you getting that job that you qualify for against a guy, it's about 10 to 1 against you, Mary.
And I realize that in some instances it's worse for women than it is for men, but I think that
now is an organization of professional women who are out there fighting.
Time. I think it always takes time for things to
no, it
takes.
A little bit, and I think it takes. You have to put up a fight.
Equal outcome.
You have to fight for your rights.
Well, yes, but it'd be interesting to see if there could be some mainstream.
We couldn't even get an ERA law, Mary. We couldn't even get an ERA law passed in this country. That's how much men and women too want to keep women suppressed.
Because it was for equal outcome, and people are against equal outcome. Period. People have a problem with affirmative action because it's the outcome-based aspect of the problem.
I think you need to think about this, Mary. We can talk after the news, or do you want to go?
Well, I'll let you get to other callers.
Okay. Good talking to you. Thank you for calling me tonight.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know. If that gal thinks she's going to go to college, and they're going to lay down because she has a great degree and she looks terrific on the job application, it ain't going to happen. Women have to fight for everything they get. Us guys like to do two things. We like to rape and beat women. Remember, domestic violence is up, and so is rape. I'm Jan Scott. This is KNUS.
Denver Jeep Eagle's downtown location. Now, there's a different kind of a place to take your car. They can handle the biggest service problem your car or truck might have. A new engine, a rebuild, transmission problems, doesn't matter how big. But what makes them different is yet another philosophy. They also major in minor things. They major in minor things. Electrical problems, a darn good tune-up, or how about a thorough detailing? They have a few rules at Denver Jeep Eagle, but they're all in your favor. For instance, you'll be treated with absolute courtesy. Your service work will be performed with genuine expertise and professionalism, and priced fairly. You'll even be delivered to work in the downtown area, and they also offer, of course, a huge rental fleet at discount prices, and an amazing variety of top-flight used cars. Denver Jeep Eagle, downtown, at 1330 West Alameda, 871-0305. You're gonna love them.
20 years ago, before anyone knew what Tex-Mex was, the folks at La Bola Restaurant were pioneering a new style of Mexican food that was uniquely Denver. Well, the La Bolas have passed into history, but the folks who created Denver's favorite Mexican restaurants are back, serving the same crowd-pleasing Mexican cuisine at Cafe Rio. Join Phil and Dory 7 nights a week at Cafe Rio, where you'll find many of your old favorites, including their famous fried ice cream and the unforgettable margaritas that once satisfied more than 80,000 thirsts a month. Here, too, you'll rediscover the classic enchiladas, burritos, chimichangas, and chili rellenos that delighted Denver palates for years. Keeping pace with the times, Cafe Rio also offers vegetarian and heart-healthy, low-fat items. So delicious, you'll never guess how good they are for you. There's a Cafe Rio near you at 6830 South University and at 11602 West 64th in Arvada. Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. That's Cafe Rio.
You're tuned to AM 710, the all-new KNUS Denver, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
From the CNN News Center in Atlanta, I'm Larry Maher. U.S. News and World Report magazine is publishing a story that claims the FBI has launched a criminal investigation of Commerce Secretary Ron Brown. Is that true?
FBI Special Agent Sharon Smith.
It's the policy of the FBI to neither confirm nor deny the existence of an investigation.
The U.S. News report alleges Brown agreed to accept a payoff in exchange for getting the U.S. trade embargo against Vietnam lifted. Is that true? Secretary Brown spoke with reporters in California.
An absolutely ridiculous report, has no validity to it. I have never been involved with any such thing. I have never had any kind of business relationship, any kind of financial relationship, any kind of relationship of any kind on this matter.
U.S. News acknowledges its story is based on allegations by a Vietnamese-born businessman who has admitted he was not a party to any sort of payoff scheme and who has admitted he's never even spoken to Ron Brown. President Clinton is back in Colorado for a weekend with his family. Upon arrival, he signed into law new protections for wilderness areas in the Rocky Mountains. Pope John Paul II took an unexpected stroll among tourists near Denver today, chatting in several languages. More on the Pontiff Day from CNN's Jeff Flock.
Pope John Paul II celebrated Mass this morning in Denver for Catholic bishops and encouraged them to work especially hard to make the church come alive for the young. About 1,500 packed the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception to hear the Holy Father. He spends the rest of the day at the St. Malo Retreat Center up in the Rocky Mountains. Meanwhile, preparations are near an end out at the Cherry Creek State Park outside Denver. The Pope will celebrate Mass there on Sunday, his only U.S. appearance open to all who come. 500,000 are expected. I'm Jeff Flock, CNN, Denver.
This is CNN Radio News.
Here's news about a revolutionary product that's energizing America. It's called Ginsana. Ginsana is the most unique herbal product in history. I'm Dr. Ronald Hoffman, medical doctor and nutritionist. If you get tired easily, if you've lost your competitive edge, you should know about Ginsana. Ginsana is the all-natural, energizing ginseng capsule. Ginsana is the first standardized ginseng extract, the only ginseng product clinically tested for 25 years. Who benefits from Ginsana? Middle-aged men and women, senior citizens, busy executives, college students, and athletes. It's often imitated, but there's only one Ginsana. All natural, no sugar, no caffeine. If you tire easily, if you've lost your competitive edge, try Ginsana and feel the energy.
Ginsana at Kmart, Rite Aid, Osco, Drug Emporium, GNC, Walgreens, People CVS, Myers, Faze, Winn-Dixie, and natural food stores. For a free brochure, call 1-800-777-2000. That's 800-777-2000.
The FBI is investigating the death of James Jordan, father of basketball superstar Michael Jordan. A body recovered 10 days earlier from a creek in South Carolina has been identified as the elder Jordan's. He died of a gunshot wound. It had been 3 weeks since James Jordan had dropped out of sight. His car turned up last week in rural North Carolina. Because the body was found across the state line, the FBI entered the case. This is news from CNN. President Clinton hails it as a breakthrough. Mexico and Canada have agreed to a series of supplemental deals on labor and environmental issues, which will accompany the North American Free Trade Treaty, NAFTA, to Congress. U.S. Trade Representative Mickey Cantor predicts prompt approval.
Once members of Congress recognize that the situation with the NAFTA and the supplemental agreements is good for jobs, good for our workers, good for businesses, good for North America, and good for our future, they'll pass the NAFTA and the supplemental agreements.
Though it could be tough sledding. House Majority Leader Richard Gephardt says the side deals do not go far enough to protect either the rights of workers or the environment. He will oppose NAFTA. While Detroit has been piling up profits from sales of light trucks and minivans, makers of big trucks have been doing a very brisk business as well. CNN's Kathleen Behoff looks at what that means for the economy.
3 of the biggest truck companies, Freightliner, Navistar, Mack Trucks, all reporting double-digit sales increases this year. Other reasons for the surge: cheap financing, strong U.S. exports to Mexico, and new emission control laws. This year is expected to be...
It is 6 minutes after 11 o'clock. 69 degrees still in Denver, 79 in Boulder, 69 in Fort Collins. You think that's what they are? Relatively. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, we have with us, incidentally, Sharon Bellio, or Bellio. Which do you like?
I'm going with Bellio.
Bellio right now. Sharon Bellio, producer and also a talk show host on KNUS. Just got back from Broncos training camp, finished tearing everything down there, and we've invited her to join me and help co-host the next hour with Kevin J. Caligari, who is, get this, president of not Dignity Denver, but Dignity USA. Kevin, welcome to Denver. Welcome to KNUS. Hi. And, you know, before we do this, what do you want me to do? Oh, everybody has to talk closer to their mics. And before we do this, let's go and talk. We want to finish up with Michelle Allen with Habitat for Humanities. They're building a house. And you know what, Lane? I need 2 sets of headphones, and I'll be in good shape. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You finished building the houses, right?
Oh, yes, sir. We finished today.
Good. And did you have your big party?
Oh, I'm actually at my house, and everyone from Habitat's over here.
Mm-hmm.
We're having a little gathering.
You are right now.
Oh, yes.
Are you drinking wine?
We had our dedication at 4 p.m.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Did everybody move in?
What did you say?
Did everyone move in?
Oh, everyone moved in.
Closings have taken place?
What'd you say?
Closings have taken place?
Well, the inspectors were here today,
Mm-hmm.
and what we did is we had almost 200 World Youth Day participants come. We had 4 busloads of people come in, and they finished putting in the sod, and it was really neat because they helped us with our finishing. And then we had our dedication at 4 p.m., like I said, and 2 of the families are moving in tonight. So.
Oh, good. Well, that's terrific. So the houses are finished. This is the 11th day. Right. Habitat for Humanity's build houses. Have you heard about Habitat for Humanity, Sharon?
No, I have not.
You haven't? Why don't you tell Sharon Bellios today? Have you heard about Habitat for Humanity? You have. Okay. Tell everybody and tell Sharon what Habitat for Humanities are, and then you're leaving town, and I want you to give your phone number, too, for wherever you'll be.
Okay. Habitat for Humanity, we're a self-help organization. We build in partnership with low-income families. And what we do is we help them get that extra help to build a home and to get themselves started. What we do is we go through an application process. The families apply, and then usually within a year to year and a half, they put in their 500 hours in building their homes and other people's homes with Habitat, and then they get in their home usually about a year to a year and a half after they apply.
And they have to buy the home, don't they?
Right.
This is not a giveaway program.
Oh, not at all. We don't give away. Mm-hmm. What they do is they put down $1,000 first off, and then they pay 25% of their income, which is between $700 and $1,900 a month. And we only build with families. And what they do is they put this money, about $200 a month, until their house is paid off, which usually takes about 20 years. But
how many houses have you built across the United States?
Across the United States, I know in Denver we've built 50. We've got our 50th house, and across the United States we've built 20,000.
Thanks, Michelle. I have to roll along here. What's your phone number for Habitat for Humanities if people want to contact you and help and volunteer and do anything for you?
Yes, you can call us at 292-4114. We build every day, so every day but Sunday.
It's in Denver too?
Oh, in Denver and throughout, and you can call 1-800-HABITAT to help throughout the country. But the Denver Metro number is 292-4114.
Did the Pope stop by?
We wanted him to, and we asked him to, but he didn't quite make it.
How about the
I
first?
know his blessings were there.
The First Lady?
First Lady, no.
The President?
I think she's in Vail.
Is she? It's a good place to be. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
When we come back, we will talk with Kevin Caligari with Dignity USA. These are gay guys and women who say the Catholic Church are not treating them fairly, and you're invited to participate. 935-7100. I'm Jan Scott. This is the talk station, KNUS in Denver.
Hi, Denver. This is Ken Hamblin. In today's world, things aren't what they used to be. Why, for years, we paid our taxes to the government only to discover they were, well, contributions. You don't have to go to Washington to learn that, though. For instance, there are businesses that call themselves service stations. Today, you pull into one of those places, and heck, you're on your own. Unless, of course, you pull into Dick's Amico. Stopping in here is, well, like a step back into the past when the customer was king. Dick's features courteous attendants in white shirts and ties and fully trained technicians with the tools and the skills to fix your car. and that's why they recently won the award for top service station in the U.S. Today, it's hard to know who to trust, but you can put your trust in Dick's Amico, Denver's true service station for more than 25 years at 1465 South Colorado Boulevard in Inglewood at the northeast corner of I-25 and Arapahoe Road. Dick's Amico Station. Check it out.
Looking for that dream home or enjoy looking? Join Paul McGregor this Saturday, August 14th, for a special edition of Homefront from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Parade of Homes at Westwoods Ranch in Arvada. On AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
Join KNUS every Wednesday afternoon at 4:55 when the Denver Spoke proudly presents a weekly cycling feature, Cycling in Colorado, with special host David Nelson. Denver Spoke, great gear, great prices, great service. Denver Spoke, 1715 East Evans, 6 blocks east of DU.
In Italy, O Sole Mio means, O Son of Mine, a tribute to the brilliant sun which drenches the city of Naples. In Denver, O Sole Mio means a roasted rack of lamb with a crust of herb goat cheese. O Sole Mio means spinach dumplings with grilled fennel sausage. O Sole Mio means fettuccine tossed in a spinach pesto alfredo sauce with sun-dried tomatoes. O Sole Mio means romance. O Sole Mio means the finest and upscale Italian dining at a price you can afford. Hi, I'm Warren Byrne, and if you enjoy the complexities of modern Italian food, if you like to relax in old-world ambiance and be pampered in the European style, if you believe Italian food should be more than pizza and spaghetti, make reservations tonight at O Sole Mio at 5501 East Colfax. O Sole Mio is one of Denver's best-kept secrets. Its relaxed, friendly atmosphere is a great place to celebrate birthdays or anniversaries. In addition to fine food, you'll find an excellent selection of Italian beers, as well as moderately priced Italian wines. Call O Sole Mio for reservations at 329-6139. See you there.
Hi, I'm Lee Rindner, and Colorado Talks with Lee Rindner and my very special guests each and every Sunday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you'd like to call in and talk with people like Dr. Wayne Dyer, Dr. Deepak Chopra, John Bradshaw, or Anthony Robbins, tune in and listen to Colorado Talks with Lee Rindner every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
Denver's only drive-by talk show host. It's Late Night with Jann Scott on KNUS. So shoot your mouth off with Jann at 935-7100, or from outside the metro area, it's 1-800-533-0071. And now back to Jann Scott tonight.
Okay, 14 minutes after 11 o'clock, we have with us Kevin Caligari is here from Dignity USA. Franklin and Denver, don't you go away. I'm going to get to you in just a bit. Dignity USA, what is it?
Dignity is the national movement of lesbian, gay, and bisexual Roman Catholics and our families and our friends. And we've been around since 1969. And we have about 85 chapters or faith communities around the country and about 4,000 members. And basically what we do is provide opportunity for someone who's gay or lesbian and wants to remain active in the church to do so. We basically have small communities, congregations, churches, what have you, that provide that.
How many of you are there?
There are about 4,000 here in Denver, and we have about 150 members.
Really? 150, 4,000 nationwide?
Right, correct.
Okay, and 150 members in Denver.
We actually reach about 3 times that many people a month in terms of the services we provide.
So you're sort of like the Patricia Ireland of now.
Of Dignity, yes.
Of Dignity.
I'm Patricia's counterpart, that's true, yeah.
All right. Now you referred to yourself when I went in and shook hands with you earlier, and I said, "Hi, I'm Jann Scott," and you said, I'm Kevin Caligari with the Queer Catholics," and I did a double take. I thought, my God, you called yourself queer. I mean, isn't that sort of a derisive way to refer?
Well, I'm attracted by the alliteration of it, I guess, first of all. Secondly, I think you hear amongst many people in our movement today the move towards appropriating terms of derision as a way to disarm and to counter the kind of homophobia and bigotry that we do experience. And so you find a lot of people, younger people for the most part, using that term as a way to take back from someone who's calling them queer the ability to lay an insult.
How did you relate that to the word Christian?
The fact that this sort of sociological phenomenon is quite common in history. If you look at African Americans who appropriated the term black at one time when it was more common to call them African Americans colored or Negro. They consciously adopted the term black as a way of expressing their pride. Way back in the 1st century, the group of people in Antioch in Asia Minor who believed in Jesus, these were Jews and Greeks who believed in Jesus, were called Christians by the pagans around them, and that was a term of derision. They decided, rather than be derided by these people, be insulted by them, they decided to call themselves Christian, and thereby disarmed the people who were trying to give them a bad time.
Okay, you're united. You're organized to unite gay and lesbian Catholics to develop leadership and be an instrument through which you may be heard by the church and society. You want the Catholic Church to accept you, but don't they accept gay people, gay and lesbian people?
Well, yes, but, and that's the whole point of why Dignity does what it needs to do, and why we get into trouble sometimes.
If you go to a Catholic church and you raise your hand and say to the priest, "I'm gay, and in fact this is my gay partner with me," are you like thrown out of the church?
No, but probably wouldn't get along very well with the folks in an unusual parish. Probably because I couldn't bring my lover in and expect our relationship to be honored and to be respected. We'd have to somehow hide that or find a way to get around it. Dignity communities, on the other hand, not only uphold relationships, we actually, in many cases, will solemnize them through a ceremony. We actually want to provide an opportunity for folks to celebrate their lives, not to hide them.
You're married. Are you married?
I am in a partnership of 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed you have a wedding ring.
Yes,
that's
I do.
a wedding ring.
Yes.
So that's like if some guy or some girl sort of checks you out and goes, "Oh, he's off bounds, he's married." So you
yeah.
I mean, well, I mean, or that's how I would look at it.
And we, my lover and I did not have a ceremony, formal ceremony, but we made this commitment to ourselves and decided to exchange rings. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can understand that. Respects the integrity of marriage and commitment and partnership and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty straightforward. Now, in some churches, I'll jump over to the Protestant right-wing fundamentalist wacko churches, as I like to call them, the crazy maniac churches, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, they think that gay people should be put to death because of sodomy. I mean, forget about going to that. You'd be instantly thrown out of the churches. I can think of some that I've gone to that are...
Sometimes I'm glad to be Catholic. And so I can be grateful for what is good in our tradition, and that's what Dignity is trying to do, is to recover and to announce the good news that we have in our Catholic Christian tradition. A fundamentalist approach to religion, to the Bible, on any front, on any issue, is going to get you into trouble and ultimately going to contradict what Jesus had intended in the gospel, I'm sure, and what God intends for the world. That's a real problem that our people face right now. We're the scapegoats that fundamentalist folks are trying to blame things on.
935-7100, 1-800-533-0071. Go to the phones, talk with Franklin in Denver. Franklin, you're on with Kevin Caligari with Dignity USA.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Let me just speak briefly to your past guest, and then I would like to talk to your guest present.
Patricia Ireland.
Yes, and that's the reason for that is you said that the anti-abortion movement was run by men to abuse women.
Oh, that's my statement.
Yes, and the reason, and then you said, and one example you gave was the ERA. And all I wanted to say was that Phyllis Schlafly, a woman, was responsible for the defeat of the ERA. And that Judy Brown is the founder and head of the largest pro-life organization in the United States. And that Elijah Drogan, another woman, is head of the largest Catholic organization, pro-life organization in the U.S. And that locally, Mary Rita Urbish, another woman, is founder and the most active member in Colorado Right to Life, or most active founder in Colorado Right to Life.
Well, the truth of the matter is, Franklin, is that the Operation Rescue and all of its associated groups, the frontline leadership from Randall terrorists to...
There are some men.
There are not just some men. They are the key leaders, and they bring on the key destruction. They're
Yeah,
the ones. They are the ones that throw the acid. They are the ones that firebomb. Okay, they are the ones who murder. And if I would presume then you're a member of that group, right?
No, I'm not a member of Operation Rescue.
Or you?
But I would say this: that long before Operation Rescue came into existence, Judy Lash, a feminist, founded Pro-Lifers for Survival.
Look, Franklin, you can say everything you want to. You are not going to convince me in any way, shape, or form that the terror committed by the anti-abortion movement is going to be condoned. I'm going to tell you something. They pushed me away totally. They had me 2 years ago, and they've aligned themselves with Nazi terrorist tactics, and enough is enough. Those people deserve to be in jail, and so that's it on that. Let's move on to Dignity. I'm sure you have a lot to say for them.
I have a question for your guest.
Sure.
And that's on dignity. Do you accept did you accept a person to act out their homosexual desires, or does a person in dignity have to, in order act according to church teaching, which is not to act out your propensity towards a homosexual act?
Well, I don't look at my life as one filled with propensities towards any particular acts. I'm a gay man who was made that way, and as Dignity Communities, what we do is welcome everyone who is attempting to work through his or her spirituality and sexuality and to integrate them. We, as Dignity, do not agree with the church teaching that homosexuality or the homosexual orientation is an intrinsic disorder. We disagree with that teaching.
Okay, that answers that question. So you would say that since it's not intrinsically wrong, then it would be a correct act. So you would say, well, then you can always act on a correct or proper act.
I didn't.
So you would not say it's unnatural, but a natural act, correct?
I would say that that a gay or lesbian orientation is, for that person, is a natural state. Yes.
It'd be like this, Franklin. What color is your hair?
Brown.
It's brown. Okay. Some people have brown hair, some people have black, and some people have blonde hair.
And it's important to note that the reason we don't.
But that wasn't the issue. I'm sorry.
We're not.
Excuse me for interrupting.
No problem. We're not disagreeing with church teaching just because it's fun to disagree with church teaching. It's because it simply does not resound with our lived experience, in the fact that many of us have found God's Spirit or God's presence in our relationships and in our living as lesbian, gay, or bisexual people.
What do you say to the argument that that certain people have propensities towards, or excuse me for using the word propensity, but I think it's effective.
It's effective.
Towards
it's not accurate.
Like child molestation. That's what they desire to do.
Listen, Franklin, it's divisive. You're being divisive. I know where you're headed with this. Okay, I know where you're headed, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Certainly.
All right. Do you know any gay people?
Yeah, I do.
All right, and who are they?
I'm not going to list names.
Well, I mean, you don't have to list names, but who are they?
Well, I don't know them well. I've known people all through the period. Do I know a number? No, I don't.
Do you have any gay people in your family?
No.
You better look harder.
Chances are you do.
No, actually, I doubt that. I know my family quite well.
Well, chances are somewhere along the line that you have a
cousin.
No.
Let me ask him something, or I mean, get back to your point, because you're trying to draw a parallel between sexual abuse or compulsion and homosexuality. Is that what you were getting at?
Well, I'm going to say this. Yeah, basically, it's that just because the desire is there does not mean that it should be acted upon. That in the church's teaching, my understanding is that it recognizes that persons has a desire in a given way, but the desire is not a proper desire, and therefore the correct thing to do would be to not act upon it.
The church, for straight people, let me pose this as a response. For straight folks, the church teaches something like this: wait until marriage, because that's where sexuality should be expressed.
That's right. Outside of
an indissoluble bond, which is open under every case of procreation. What the church says to gay folk is wait until death. That's what the church teaches us. Wait until death.
Hang on here for
and
a
I don't
second,
think that's
Franklin.
a very good way to approach life.
We're going to put you on hold here, okay? Don't go away. Stay right there. And we will continue with Kevin Caligari from Dignity USA on Jann Scott tonight here on KNUS AM 710, the talk station in Denver.
We're talking with Bob Gebhardt, General Manager of the Colorado Rockies. It sure must be nice when you get into your Seville from Medved Cadillac and escape all that noise at Mile High Stadium.
It really is. It's quiet, and it's part of the day that I really enjoy. Driving to work in the morning, driving home at night. It's quiet, it's relaxing, and it's comfortable.
Bob, have you ever owned a luxury car before?
Yes, I have, but not a Cadillac, and I've been very impressed with the entire year I've driven a car and look forward to driving one in the future.
So what do you like best about your Seville?
Well, I think it's a reliable car. It's comfortable to drive. It's comfortable to ride in, as my wife tells me, and it's a real enjoyment to be in it.
Bob, if you were to talk about Medved Cadillac in baseball terms, how would you describe them?
Well, it's kind of like having a 5-run lead in the ninth inning, and all of a sudden there's a pop-up to end the ball game, and everybody's comfortable. Everybody goes home happy.
The Colorado Rockies' Bob Gebhardt made the intelligent choice. Medved Cadillac on I-70 in Wheat Ridge. Exit Kipling, exit Ward, but exit Medved Cadillac at the giant Medved Autoplex.
Dear Michelle, I just got a very nice letter praising your handling of a private party at your Normandy restaurant.
We have the perfect facilities for private functions, large or small, luncheons and dinners, and the prices are reasonable.
I understand that holiday bookings are coming in, Karen. Isn't it a bit early for that?
Certainly not, Dad, for the prime dates. Now is the time to book your Christmas parties in our beautiful private room.
The Normandy French restaurant for all your private functions, it's the right choice.
The Normandy in Chez Michel, East Colfax at Madison, 321-3311.
This is Jane Pearson with Field Therapy. When my son and daughter were teenagers, I was concerned about their failing eyesight. My daughter couldn't find anything to wear in a closet full of clothes, and my son couldn't find anything to eat in a refrigerator full of food. Don't let your eyesight fail in seeing opportunities to support and help the youth of today. Truly, they are our future. Jane Pearson with Field Therapy on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH, Dillon, Breckenridge.
Looking for that dream home or enjoy looking? Join Paul McGregor this Saturday, August 14th, for a special edition of Homefront from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Parade of Homes at Westwoods Ranch in Arvada. On AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH, Dillon, Breckenridge.
Hi, I'm Pierre Wolf, inviting you to join me every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 p.m. Fascinating guests from our community, the world of food, and travel. Light, entertaining, and oftentimes rewarding. It's your chance to relax and enjoy. Saturdays, 2 to 4 p.m. with me, Pierre Wolf, only heard here on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH, Dillon, Breckenridge.
Welcome back, if you please, the man who owns nighttime talk radio in Denver. It's Jann the Man Scott, with interesting guests from all around America and callers like you on the Front Range. Talk right now with Jann at 935-7100, statewide long-distance toll-free 1-800-533-0071.
All right, back here. It is 11:30 on the old button. What's going on at midnight tonight, Lane? Is that Rush Limbaugh? Rush Limbaugh tapes for the best of KNUS? Those of you who cannot get enough of the Fuhrer, you can listen to tapes of him. Kevin Caligari is here with us this evening. He's with Dignity USA. He's here from San Francisco. Came for the event, the Pope, the Holy Father being here. Kevin Caligari, incidentally, is a theologian. And what else? What else can we know about you?
Let's see. I'm born and raised in San Francisco, and studying in a doctoral program at the Graduate Theological Union at Berkeley. And I was an altar boy, and what else? And I'm Italian.
And you're Italian.
Right.
Now, let me see. Were you molested by your home priest, and did that make you become gay?
No and no.
Okay.
No, I was never abused or molested probably had a crush on one or another priest when I was a young kid, but never been molested, and no, that didn't make me gay. No.
Okay. I had two former priests here yesterday, and they said that celibacy was not necessarily a cause of child molestation by priests, but it really raises hell with your sexuality. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I think what I'm going to say here is going to tie in with what a lot of what Patricia was saying in the earlier segment, and that is the church's approach to sexuality is such that a lot of unhealthy behaviors will result. And the kind of dualism which puts men on top of women and it makes women inferior, in fact, looks at women as a way of, as actually something bad. In other words, men are better than women, and sexual contact with women somehow makes men worse off. So that you had developed in our church tradition after the 4th century an idea from Neoplatonism and Stoicism that it would be better not to have sex at all. And if you had sex, you had to have it just to have babies, and you couldn't enjoy it. To enjoy sex is a sin. And that really was the beginning of our tradition, and it's carried forth today.
What are you doing here in Denver incidentally? Is there something going on tomorrow?
Actually, Dignity has had a number of events already this week. We're not doing anything tomorrow. A number of us are going to be participating at the Papal Mass on Sunday. We're going to be present there to pray and to participate. We had a prayer.
Really, you are? So
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't have anything against the Pope? I mean...
No, I do have something against the Pope, but I also recognize the Pope as the head of my church. But I can still disagree with him, and I do.
You love the Pope?
Good question. Yeah. In a strange sort of way, because in my tradition, we're called to forgive. And even though I'm angry with him and with his administration particularly, and the kind of homophobia that they're propagating, no, I'm willing to forgive because I want to be part of the tradition, and I own it, and I want to be participating in it.
Okay, Denver, listen here now. We have Kevin J. Caligari. He's the president of Dignity USA. He is the #1 gay Catholic guy in the country. All right? So, 935-7100 or 1-800-533-0071. We got 2 lines open, and, you have things you want to say or ask. I mean, will you take any...
Any and all.
Any and all questions.
Mm-hmm,
okay,
sure.
Back to Franklin in Denver. Go ahead, Franklin.
Okay, I'd like to speak towards, you said that the church requires you not to, act out homosexual desires. But I say that, I am married and heterosexual, and the church requires me to live in a monogamous marriage, and that no matter what my desires might be otherwise, that I have responsibility to act that way and to avoid looking at lewd photographs, so forth. And also that the church does recognize
Wait. Franklin, can I ask you what made you bring up lewd photographs?
Because it's an example of a sexual act. Insofar as if I were to look at a lewd photograph, I would be acting improperly.
Do you have a propensity to look at lewd photographs?
No, I don't. But as a
That's
man,
okay. I mean,
let me qualify that. I would say this, that it's not something that it affects me dramatically. But is there a certain draw to it? Yeah, unfortunately there is. But
Franklin, you're not alone in that. Watching MTV today, it's hard to avoid looking at a nude photograph every 30 seconds. So I mean, that's life. We all deal with that kind of stuff. So what I think you're asking me is since you are following church teaching insofar as you're in a married relationship and you're respecting the sanctity and the integrity and the indissolubility of that relationship, should not I follow church teaching by foregoing any possibility of an intimate human relationship, because that's what the church teaches?
Correct.
And my reply to that is, I don't think the church can call me to absolute total celibacy, lifelong celibacy. Not so much because I know that that's impossible, but for me it's unlikely because I have found grace and found blessing in the relationship that I'm in, and that I find God present in that relationship.
Yeah, I just have two comments to that. The first one is that, Christ calls all persons, to, towards Him, to choose Christ.
Correct.
And that we have a responsibility in turn to choose Him.
Mm-hmm.
And that you separate yourself from Christ, He doesn't separate Himself from you.
Correct.
And that
I'm not disagreeing with you.
You have to, and that if you choose to act other than as a church, which is the body of Christ, chooses, you're separating yourself.
But Jesus said not one word about the moral illicitness of my relationship.
What is it? I thought if I remember correctly, doesn't St. Paul speak to that?
No, actually, I went through this here last week on the show. No one has of yet shown me in the Bible anywhere where that gay men or gay women cannot participate not only in the church, but can't even have relationships.
Okay, let me speak to this in two ways. First of all, there's more than one source of truth. The Bible is obviously one. Mm-hmm. The other is de fide and moral and
you know your catechism, don't you?
Church.
You know your catechism.
Yes, thank you. And I think in St. Paul he does speak to it. I would have to look at it to make sure, but I'm almost positive I've read it because I've looked at it.
Well, there are actually two passages you're referring to. One in Romans 1, another in 1 Timothy 6.
Yeah.
Both of the terminology used in both of those passages are two Greek words, arsenokoitai and malakoi.
Okay, you know it better. I only know the last.
There's also Leviticus.
Well, I know the original language, and I can tell you that no scripture scholar worth her or his salt can tell you for sure what those words mean. They were later interpreted after this period, what I talked about earlier in terms of the Neoplatonist and Stoic influence on our tradition. They were later interpreted, and the word sodomite was developed in Latin. But we don't know what they meant. If they meant anything, it probably referred to sexual prostitution in pagan religious rites. In other words, temple prostitution, where young boys were hired for ritual acts, which bears no relationship to the kind of homosexuality I'm living out or that I know.
Thank you, Franklin, for your call. Incidentally, folks, with me this evening is Kevin Caligari. He's president of Dignity USA. Quote, the presence of the Pope in the land of Amendment 2 stirs emotional and often soul-wrenching feelings on the parts of Denver's gay and lesbian Roman Catholics, our families and our friends. Well, for many of us, it is a painful reminder that the love and inclusion which this Pope effuses to nearly everyone in the world, including non-Catholics, non-Christians, and non-believers, does not extend to us, the gay and lesbian children of the Church. Can you, Denver, accept gay and lesbians? That's truly the question. 935-7100. Jan Scott with you on KNUS.
Seem like I'm living mighty, mighty thin. I said I'm down to my last dime. Seem like I'm living mighty, mighty, mighty thin. You know, I went on up to my baby, and she said, hey man, if you ain't got no job, you ain't coming in. You know, I woke up broke this morning.
Karen Michelle, I just got a very nice letter praising your handling of a private party at your Normandy restaurant.
We have the perfect facilities for private functions, large or small, luncheons and dinners, and the prices are reasonable.
I understand that holiday bookings are coming in, Karen. Isn't it a bit early for that?
Certainly not, Dad. For the prime dates, now is the time to book your Christmas parties in our beautiful private rooms.
The Normandy French restaurant for all your private functions, it's the right choice.
The Normandy in Chez Michel, East Colfax at Madison, 321-3311.
Quit smoking? No problem. I've done it many, many times before. Staying off cigarettes was the problem. Hi, my name is Rick Greenlee. I'm 42 years old, and I've smoked a pack and a half of cigarettes a day for the past 28 years. My reasons for quitting were, of course, my health, but more importantly, the health of my loved ones. Today and for the past 14 months, I'm happy to say that I'm an ex-smoker, with the help that I received from Lee Rinder.
You want to stop smoking with no withdrawal, without gaining weight, and without the harmful side effects of the patch? I'm Lee Rinder, certified clinical hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner with over 20 years of experience. I stopped smoking and simultaneously lost 66 pounds using the same clinical hypnosis that I'll teach you. Call me at 979-5498 to lose weight, stop smoking, or make other changes. That's Lee Rinder, certified clinical hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner at 979-5498.
In central China, near the Tibetan border, the giant panda lies tranquilly in the cool, damp bamboo forest the mountains provide. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, the Panda Cafe, located a bit less exotically at South Federal and Mississippi, is already at work for you. To quote the Denver Post, after one visit to the Panda Cafe, you'll understand why it's one of the most popular restaurants in Denver. Perhaps that's one of the reasons for its 5-star rating. Wait till you sample Chef Billy Lamb's fruit with seafood or mango chicken, fresh coconut with its milk delicately blended in a delightful vegetable sauce for a truly unique curry dish. You won't find these anywhere else. Truly moments to remember. These creations of Billy Lamb, who's in the kitchen 12 hours a day, await your dining pleasure at the Panda Cafe, South Federal and Mississippi. There's a 13-hour time difference between here and central China, and a world of difference at the Panda Cafe. 936-2500.
Hi, this is Warren Byrne, inviting you to join me this and every Saturday from 4 to 7 for The Restaurant Show, the most complete source of information available on Denver dining. Together, we'll discover the new, revisit the old, and compare notes on the great and sometimes less than great places to dine in Denver. If you enjoy dining out, be sure and join me, Warren Byrne, on The Restaurant Show, Saturdays 4 to 7, right here on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH, Dillon Breckenridge.
How do you like tonight's show? Write your best, funniest, most outrageous, praising, or insulting letter on tonight's show and win a dinner for two if Jan reads your letter on the air. Write as many and as often as you like to Letters to Jan, KNUS Radio, 5800 West Alameda, Lakewood, Colorado 80226. And now we return to tonight's Late Night Talkmaster. It's Jan Scott at 935-7100 or 1-800-533-0071.
You know, it's an unbelievable thing. We have a VCR machine here that plays Rush Limbaugh back. I've just been informed the VCR machine has broken and they can't seem to get it fixed. So you know what you're going to have, folks? You're going to have 6 hours of Jan Scott replays. Those of you who are like right-wing fundamentalist Nazi types, you'll look at the phones, now they're lighting up. All right, so anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we may even stay until 1 o'clock or until they get the machine fixed. That's kind of the plan here. Kevin J. Caligari is with us. He is a what?
A what?
A
theologian. Okay.
Theologian.
Yes.
He's studying
Yeah.
right now, and he's the president of Dignity USA. And you know, I think the issue is do you think that you were saying that gay and lesbian people have been literally run out of the church in some cases?
Sure, and this happened around 1986 through 88. The Vatican issued a document from the agency that used to be called the Inquisition. It's now called the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, headed by a cardinal named Joseph Ratzinger. And they issued a document saying that gay and lesbian people were intrinsically disordered, and that any ministry to them had to be in accord with that teaching, and that anyone who didn't agree had to be thrown off church property. And so most of our communities that met in churches were evicted. Some, for example, in New York and Chicago, were evicted with the help of riot police. This is folks who want to go to church and are celebrating Mass, and this is the way we were treated by our bishops. Yeah, it was disappointing.
I went to an experimental school, like a boarding school, in the early 60s. Now, isn't it interesting? The headmaster was gay, the assistant headmaster was gay, and there were 2 gay school teachers. And the 2 teachers would go to Mass every morning. And my life at that time, at 18 years old or 17 years old, was really crazy. And I was also Catholic, but anyways, they went to Mass, and they say, anybody who wants to go to Mass can go with us, and I would go at 7 in the morning, okay, and then breakfast was at 8. And, well, there are 2 things that happened. I mean, no one at that school ever approached me in a sexual way. That just never happened. It's something that we knew. It was one of those kinds of things that you know at a school, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
They were also great teachers, and they also really encouraged us in our faith and in praying, and that the prayer and going to Mass really helped the pressures of the day and the life. And I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm just saying
I
that.
think that's a wonderful Catholic truth. I mean, it's just true that prayer is a very important part of a Christian life, and you can't get around it, and it's a good way to ground yourself.
See, my experience of gay people is that gay people are gay people. They just happen to be gay. I happen to be heterosexual. It's that chocolate or vanilla kind of.
Well, and that's true. But on the other hand, I think what we've discovered in our movement, in the gay and lesbian religious movement and in the wider political movement, is that gay and lesbian people probably have something distinctive to offer society too. It's not just that we're the same as everyone else, but because of the kind of social oppression, marginalization we've experienced, we've got some insights to share.
If it weren't for gay people, we would have no interior decorators.
You would have no Catholicism. You would not have the Sistine Chapel. It would be a blank room. You would not have a Palestrina Mass. You would not have any number of beautiful things in churches, and you wouldn't have choir directors and organists if you didn't have gay people.
There. Let's go to talk to Kay in Aurora. You're on the air, Kay, with Kevin J. Caligari. He is president of Dignity USA. This is a big gun that we have in here tonight.
Hello, Kevin.
Hi.
I have 2 gay sons. I was raised...
Congratulations.
Yes, I think so. I was raised a strict Catholic, as a strict Catholic all my life, and I loved the church. And then when they decided that gays didn't belong anymore, which my youngest son belonged to Dignity here in Denver, and I quit the church because I just could not go to church where there was bigotry. I just can't, and I really feel bad. I mean, I still believe in the Lord. I still am a Christian, but I just will not set foot in a Catholic church until they lift it, put a ban on them.
Right.
And I just want you to know that there's a lot of us parents out there that we stand behind our children all the way.
I appreciate what you're saying and your passion for your son and also for your faith. The concern that you feel that you cannot pray in a church that doesn't want your son. It's a tough one, and I have to ask myself every morning when I get out of bed, do I really want to stay in a church that doesn't want me? At least whose leadership, or I should say, whose office holders don't want me. And I basically say to myself every day in my prayers, I ask God for the strength to carry on, to continue in the tradition, even when it is hateful, even when it is sinful, to help Jesus' message come through. And that's what we do in Dignity.
Thank you for your call, Kay. And incidentally, folks, the VCR, unfortunately, is fixed. It's going to be 6 hours of Rush Limbaugh. You don't get any more of me. Now, we take a break here, and we're coming back to Mike in Denver and then Janet, okay? So we have 10 minutes left. I'm Jan Scott. Kevin J. Caligari is here with us, president of Dignity USA. These are the gay people and lesbian people, and they're here in Denver for the Pope.
Hi, Denver. This is Ken Hamblin. In today's world, things aren't what they used to be. Why, for years, we paid our taxes to the government only to discover they were, well, contributions. You don't have to go to Washington to learn that, though. For instance, there are businesses that call themselves service stations. Today, you pull into one of those places, and heck, you're on your own. Unless, of course, you pull into Dick's Amico. Stopping in here is, well, like a step back into the past when the customer was king. Dick's features courteous attendants in white shirts and ties and fully trained technicians with the tools and the skills to fix your car. And that's why they recently won the award for top service station in the U.S. Today, it's hard to know who to trust, but you can put your trust in Dick's Amico, Denver's true service station for more than 25 years at 1465 South Colorado Boulevard in Inglewood at the northeast corner of I-25 and Arapahoe Road. Dick's Amico Station. Check it out.
What goes on below the surface of daily events? Listen to the Christian Science Sentinel radio program this Sunday, 7:30 in the morning on AM 710, the all-new KNUS. Hi, I'm Joe Sternigolo, and I host a weekly financial magazine called The Investment Advisor, Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. here on KNUS and KHTH. If you're interested in easy-to-understand talk on your money and ways to invest it, or how to plan for college education, or how to plan your estate, or how to plan for retirement, it will never be boring. It will always be interesting, entertaining, and relevant. Tune in every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. to The Investment Advisor on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon and Breckenridge.
Put your phone on automatic redial because all the lines are full on Jann Scott Tonite. 935-7100 in the Denver area, or outside the metro area, toll free at 1-800-533-0071.
You know, suicide is the leading cause of death among gay and lesbian youth in this country, and Pope John Paul II is not addressing teen suicide amongst gay kids.
Well, I think what's real striking is the theme of this event is John 10:10, that I came that they might have life and have it more abundantly. Mm-hmm. But for lesbian and gay kids, the messages they get from the church don't really encourage abundant life, and you can see the kind of self-hatred that's promoted, and a lot of kids do think about it, and some do follow through.
Absolutely.
It's tragic. It's tragic.
I've had 4 gay teenagers on, actually it was on my TV show, with their counselor one day from the Denver Gay and Lesbian Center. I'll have them on here on the radio show. It was one of the hardest programs that I'd ever done, and it's something maybe that we'll do as you folks can have a listen and maybe humanize this some more when we go around gay bashing. The problem is you know, when teenagers have a really hard time dealing with being called faggot 100 times a day, every day at school, and then they end up killing themselves, and we murder them. Go talk with Mike in Aurora. You're on the air, Mike.
Hey, how you doing, Jan?
Good, sir. Do you have a question for Kevin?
Yes. Before I go into my question,
you have to make this pretty quick because I got about 4 minutes left.
Okay.
So you got 2.
Basically, when it comes to this subject, I refer as the Bible as my sole source of information, and I believe wholeheartedly in 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17. Is your guess familiar with that scripture?
Yeah, you can go ahead and remind me of it, though.
Okay, now, I heard a little bit of the conversation about the Bible, not where you claim the Bible did not give reference to priests and homosexuality in the church.
No, what I said was that the terms used in the Greek are not as easily translated into a word such as homosexual. That's what I said. And I probably should point out that